Our second assignment here in Figma in experience design using Figma.com is going to be about creating icons. And I know there's a lot of places on, you can just do Google searches to find icons, but in Figma you have the capability of creating your own icons, and that's what I want you to work on and get some experience with today. So everything that you need is on the handout here, plus here's the idea. There are 8 different icons that are required today, and I've got examples of them right here on the handout, which is posted on Google Classroom. The home icon, an arrow icon, a profile icon, a calendar icon, let's roll this on down, a mail icon, photo, video, and group. Now the bonus comes here if you want to try some kind of like icon, like a heart or a thumbs up. You could try to make one of those. That's bonus. It's worth 10 points if you do any kind of like icon. But the ones that are required are the 8 previous that you saw. Home, arrow, profile, calendar, mail, photo, video, and group. And they are on the handout that is posted on Google Classroom. Let's hop over here to Figma. Once you get to Figma, if you did yesterday's assignment, you should have already signed up. Now I'm just going to log in, and you log in with Google. It will make you verify your account. All right, let's do that, and we're in. Okay, now I'm getting quite a collection of things on my first screen because I'm grading things that people have done, and so that gives me links to other projects that people have turned in. But what you'll do here is come up on the right hand side, top right hand side, new file. We're going to do that, and where it says Untitled here, we're going to call it icons. Got that. Let's go get the frame tool over on the left hand side. It looks like a hashtag, the frame tool. And here's what I want you to do today. This is not really going to be, you're just going to make some things. This isn't going to be an interactive kind of thing where there's several screens and you click back and forth. So I'm going to go here to paper. I'm going to click on the menu for paper, and I'm just going to do letter. And it really what it does is kind of lay out an 8.5 by 11 sheet, right? It's kind of like a piece of paper. Well, that'll work. Didn't want to zoom in quite that far. All right, so we're just going to build our icons on here. All right, well, let's go to work here. The first icon, there's some tricks and techniques that I'm going to show you as we go. The first icon is a home icon. Well, let's consider our shape tools that we have at our disposal here, things like rectangles and polygons and things like that. All right, so I'm going to do a rectangle here, and you have to build these yourself. That's the whole assignment. Don't go out and copy something from the internet and paste it on here. That's not going to get you anywhere. All right, so for a home icon, I'll just take a rectangle, and the size doesn't matter a whole lot. You can just draw it, just make it. All right, so I'm going to start with a rectangle, and here's a pretty simple way to do this. I'll go get a polygon here, and I am going to just drag out kind of a triangle. And I'll switch to my arrow tool, and I'm going to set that triangle just kind of right on top of there. Now, there's little red guidelines that really help you a lot with lining things up. But if you're concerned about things being lined up, you can use the arrow tool and select the things that are there and look over on the top right-hand side at these alignment buttons. And you can even drop this. No, that's a vertical. Okay. So like if I'm concerned with the horizontal centers, I can click that button right there for horizontal centers if I want to make sure that these are really, really, really lined up. Okay. And maybe if I want to, I could come along here. Do you want to add a chimney on that house? I could maybe add a little kind of a box like that. I'll use my arrow tool to kind of move it down in like that. And so that's not looking too bad, right? And I could select all of those objects right here. And I'm not going to really be concerned about what color they are. You could leave them gray if you wish. But I'm going to make it black, I believe, is what I'll do. I intentionally left a little bit of a gap right there. I kind of like the way that looks. So I did that on purpose. So this wouldn't be bad. Right, and yours doesn't have to look exactly like this. But now the other thing that I'm going to do here, and I've got make a switch on a piece of equipment. All right. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do that whole right-click and group selection. Okay. If you did yesterday's lesson, we ran into that yesterday, right-click and group selection. And so that makes this thing a group. And I could, size it up or down. If you hold the shift key, it constrains the proportions. But I don't really care how big they are. It doesn't matter. Now, over here on the left-hand side, on the layers, you see this says Group 1 because that's a group of objects. And I could rename that if I wanted to, and I could call that's my home button. So I did a right-click, rename, and that's my home button. I've made my home button. Yay. All right, so let's see what's next. What are we doing next here? Let's scroll this up. We're doing an arrow. All right, well, that's pretty easy. And I'm going to show you some ways. You could do an arrow like this. My goodness, it's almost like doing the home button. You could do an arrow like this where you draw a rectangle, and then you draw a triangle, and then you rotate the triangle. If you rotate it and then take it and kind of set it on there, and again, if you're concerned with alignment, get them selected and come over here and do a vertical center alignment to make sure that they're all perfectly aligned. Okay, so yeah, so that's one way you could do it. And this is actually two separate pieces right now, right? It's a rectangle and a triangle that I rotated and I put together. I do want to show you something else because this is an option. If I select that and I come up to the top right here and I get these things like union selection, subtract selection, intersect selection, exclude selection, I'm going to do a union because here's what that will do. It will combine the rectangle and the triangle into one shape, one piece. It won't be two pieces anymore. So I'm going to do a union selection, and then I can make it, sorry, I missed my click there. I can make it whatever color I want. And look, there we go. Now if I look over here on the layer panel on the left-hand side, that says union, and I can right-click and I could rename that and just call that arrow. And I'm not going to be terribly concerned if you don't rename your things that you put over here, but you can, right? Okay, now as we go along through this, I'm going to try to show you different things. What's next? We're going to do a profile. Different techniques and tricks that you can use. Let's just go. All right, for the profile thing, and again, you don't have to do everything just like me, but I'm going to that's going to be like the head of and if you go look at my example here, it's kind of like a head and a body, but the body is just half of a circle. All right, so I'm going to make the head, and then I'll make another circle here that's a little bit bigger, and I'm holding the shift key so that it will draw perfect circles. Ooh, what's this guy do? Oh, that's the key right there. Look at that. All right, woo, woo, woo. That's going to be nice. All right, circle tool, shift. Now when you look at the circle, it's got that little bubbly thing in there. Oh yeah, looky there. I can just do like that, and then I can take this and I can rotate it around. I'm sure that I can just flip it and rotate it like that, and I can set it kind of like, like that. And again, if you are concerned with having them perfectly aligned, I can select both of them, and I can come over here to the horizontal center alignment. And unless you could, there's so many ways you could do it. I could overlap those a little bit, and then I could union those to make it one piece. I could definitely do that. Or if I don't want to do that, I could just kind of leave them, they're just kind of touching, and I could right-click and group it. Right, that works. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's go. I'm going to make that black. And you know what? I'm not going to make it black. Just changed my mind. I'm going to make it like yellow and stroke it. I'll give it like a 5-pixel stroke. There we go. So that's going to be like my profile icon. Yay. Cool. All right, so that one's done. What are we doing next? We're doing a calendar. Well, all right, so let's pick up speed a little bit. I'm going to draw a rectangle. And remember on rectangles that You get those little bubbly things in the corner, and you can round them if you want to. Don't have to, but you can. There is a line tool here in the toolbar, and I could draw a little line here that I do like that, and I'm going to make the stroke thicker. I'm going to go about 8 on that stroke, I think, and see what that looks like. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to put that kind of right there. And remember that if you're ever going to use something again, you can hold the Alt key and drag it to make a copy of it. And I'm going to draw one more line in here. I want a line that just kind of goes across like this on my calendar. And again, I'm going to make that about an 8-point stroke like I did before. And I'm also might just give this this whole box like an 8-point stroke. Now, I think maybe I would like to get the centers of the box and that horizontal line a little bit. And you know what? I might spread those just a little bit more. There, that is going to be my calendar icon. I don't really mind the gray on that one. I think I'm going to leave that gray, but do whatever you want with color. That doesn't matter. All right, and you know, like I said, yours does not have to look exactly like that. You know what? I see something I can't live with. I got to align the top edges of those. That's better. I can live with that better. Now, that is made of several pieces, so anytime you got something made of several pieces, I think it's a decent idea to group the selection. Bingo. Calendar, right? So I'm going to go over here. What group 1 I've got, I'm a little behind on renaming these. So this is going to be profile. And group 2 here is my calendar. Right click, rename calendar. I'm flying. Let's go. All right, now I think we are down to photo and video again. No, mail is next. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at and this is just an idea. You don't have to do it like me. If you're starting to say, okay, I get how to do this stuff, then go do it. You just got to do it. So I'm going to make a rectangle and round the corners a little bit. Now I do want to show you this pen tool. The pen tool I think is kind of fun. All right, so I'm going to get the pen tool, and with the pen tool I can just kind of go click, 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 and then press enter, and I'm done. I just dropped anchor points is what I did. I just did click, click, click to drop some anchor points. I'm going to make that stroke about 5 pixels thick, and I think I'll make the stroke around, I'll add a stroke to the rectangle and make it about 5 pixels thick. And even that's not terrible. That's pretty good. That's not bad. I mean, I could move that up a little bit, but it looks like an envelope. I'm trying to make something that looks like an envelope that has that little flap folded down on it. Now, again, this is made of more than one piece, so I'm going to select, and I'm going to right-click and group the selection, and that's going to be I'll come over here. Actually, you can kind of just double-click in there if you want, and I'm going to call that mail. Let's move on. What are we doing next? Now it's time for photo and video. And again, I have a suggestion for a photo on the handout. I have a suggestion for a way that you can make a photo icon. But if you've seen other photo icons that look different than that, maybe they kind of look a little bit more like a camera, do it the way you want to do it. You don't have to do it just like this, but you have to do it, and you have to build it yourself using Figma. All right, so once again, I'm going to start with a rectangle here. I'm going to curve the corners a little bit because I want to do that. Let's make that a little bit bigger, and I'll be able to see those dots, and then I can make it smaller later. All right, and then I want to make it look like there's some mountains there. So I'm going to use that pen tool again. I'm going to go to the pen tool and kind of go like click, 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 kind of like that. And I'll press enter. When you're done drawing with the pen tool, you can just press the enter key. And I'm going to make that about 5, that line is going to be about 5 pixels, the stroke weight. And I'm going to give the box a stroke as well, about 5 there. And get those, I might get those like aligned. I'm using my align buttons here to line them up a little bit. Now I think I also want to add what would kind of look like a sun. Hold the shift key there and make that a perfect circle, and give that, I'm not sure I want a 5-point stroke, but I might go like a 3-point stroke on that. And this time I might actually change some fill colors. I'll change the fill color of the box to white, change the fill color of that little sun to white. I'm going to group all that together because that all goes together. And that is going to be my, over here on the layers panel, rename, that's going to be photo. Fabulous. Look at me go. All right. And again, you know, do you need to watch this whole movie? I don't know if you need to watch the whole movie, but I'm going to go ahead and finish. I'm 6 down, 2 to go. And I don't know if I'm going to do the bonus or not. Maybe I'll just let you work on making some efforts at that. All right, video is next, so I'm going to start that off with a rectangle. This one's super simple, if you ask me. I might zoom in on that some so I can see those little handles. I like the curved corners. I like the rounded corners. Yeah, you know, that's just me. I don't know if you like the rounded corners or not. You don't have to like the same thing I like. I'm going to make this one red. Now for this one, I could do this with a pen tool, or I could do it with I want to make like a play. It's going to look like a play button, right? So I'm going to do a triangle kind of thing. Yeah, kind of like that. That's looking pretty good. I'm not going to want it. I am going to stroke it. Whoa. That got out of control. Okay, whew. And I want it to be filled with white. Okay, and that's going to need to be rotated, which, by the way, you can, if you sneak up on a corner, you can rotate it that way. But also on the properties panel over here, there is a box here. If you select an object, there's a box here for rotation. Oh, and there's a corner radius box there as well that you can use. Look at that, I'm just learning things. So I'm going to set that to 90 degrees, press enter. Nope, I wanted the other, I wanted minus 90. So let's try minus 90. Yep. Minus 90 pointed it the way I wanted it to point. I wanted it to point like this. And then again, I can select that and I can use my alignment buttons over here if I feel like they need to be used. Okay. And there we go. That's a decent play button, like a video button, right? And I'll select all of that, and I'm going to right click and group selection. All right, we are down to the brass tacks here. Now, this one, the group icon is going to be very easy. I'll show you a shortcut on this one. The group icon, I'm going to tap the minus key on my keyboard to zoom out a little bit. The group icon really could be made of some copies of the profile icon, could it not? So what I'm going to do is hold the Alt key and drag that to make a copy of it. But then the group icon has to have more than one person in it, right? So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to size it down a smidge. I want this to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to Alt drag a copy and put it kind of side by side, sort of like that. And I'm going to Alt drag one more copy, and I want this one to be a little bigger and kind of in front of the other two, so it looks like that. So I'm taking my profile icon and making it look like, okay, do you want to be a member of this group, right? A lot of apps and websites and all that have groups that you can join. And so that's my icon that kind of indicates, okay, click here if you want to be a part of a group, right? So I'm going to take all of that, right click that, group that selection. And have I fallen behind here once again? Yes, this is going to be, well, you know what? It's called group. I'll just name it. I'll just take the 2 off of there and call it group. What's this one? This one is video. I didn't rename this one. Video. There they are. They're done. The 8 assigned icons are done. Now, you know, I could show you some tricks on the bonus, but here's what I'd really kind of rather do. I want to leave it to you to see if you can figure it out. Can you make anything that could be used as a like icon, like a heart or a thumbs up? And they don't have to be great. They don't have to be like this perfect thing. But if you want to jump in there and go for the bonus, I do know how to do some of them. And it's not that I don't want to tell, but I'd like to see how you solve the problem. Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you do it? It's up to you. All right. So that's it. This is all done. And there's no interaction on this, so I'm not going to prototype and, connecting anything to anything at all. And so I would just come up here to share, and I would just copy the link. Doink. And then you would turn that link in on Google Classroom. All right, so icons are the topic of the day. You have to build them yourself. Home, arrow, calendar, profile, photo, mail, video, group. And then there's a bonus option if you want to go after it. All right, off you go.